Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paddy, and welcome back for another edition of Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. This is Fan Festival, the June show here in MAW, the show where, of course, I always like to imagine in my headcanon that we have a week-long event of some sort, some signings, some panels, maybe some outside wrestling of some sort. But I've as usual, I forget if I've actually booked this correctly, so wait a minute. Just gonna check something before we start. This is the joys of no editing. Yeah, it's fine. Right, yes, but at the end of the week, of course, after this large event of fan meet and greets, we have a show, and tonight is a big one. It is a big match feel as we have the heavyweights champion of the world here in our main event of the evening as John Greed defends his world heavyweight championship against none other than local boy George Wolfe. George Wolfe has won two tournament championships in his career here in Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. He has won the Ripcord Invitational Challenge twice in a row. He's won the old American title back when it was still a thing here in MAW. But he's never even got a sniff at our regional heavyweight championship. So tonight is his first chance at big singles gold in the United States of America. Of course, he has been the historical Japan champion over in Pride. He has been a huge star over in Japan, and tonight is his time to climb to the top of the ladder and win that World's Heavyweight Championship, that Confederation of the Territories Championship, and prove that he is the best, as he is prone to tell us. He is a machine. He is kind of unstoppable at times here in MAW, but tonight he has to take on the heavyweight champion of the world. He has to take on John Greed. Let's see what happens. We're in the Charlotte Garden, and we kick things off with Acid 2 and stuntman Devil May Care coming out to the interview area. Acid 2 getting on the mic and saying, you know, here in MAW, we haven't had a lot of allies. We haven't had a lot of friends. We're violent, we're vicious, and we're successful. It leads to jealousy, it leads to hatred. I get it. But you know, you gotta have friends, you gotta have allies. So tonight, we'd like to introduce to you a third member of our little group. A third member of Devil May Care. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who is just as willing to put their body on the line as we are. Shinikami. And this masked man comes out, quite short, quite thin, quite slim, but with this just terrifying mask. And we move into a 6-man tag debut for the full team of Devil May Care as Acid, Stuntman, and Shinikami take on Island Boy Apollo, American Elemental, and Eric Lee in quite a long 6-man tag team match. There's some high-flying action from American Elemental, Eric Lee, and the Devil May Care group as they all just throw their bodies at each other in this crazy 6-man tag match. It's so violent, actually, that American Elemental suffers an injury, suffers a bruised pectoral muscle, and we of course got the hardy, the spirited Island Boy Apollo fighting with his brawling style, trying to keep up with these fast-paced daredevils on the opposite side, but they just overwhelm him, 2-on-1, 3-on-1 attacks with these vicious, headbutts, vicious clotheslines, vicious legs, vicious kicks, top rope maneuvers, anything that they can possibly do to keep the spirited Babyface down. And eventually they do isolate Eric Lee, I think it is. No, American Elemental. And eventually they do manage to defeat the Babyface Trios tag team here in our opening contest at Fan Festival. A vicious, high-flying, adrenaline rush of a match as these three daredevils, no doubt, show the world that they are crazy. Absolutely crazy individuals, and together they are so dangerous. And hell, it's not over, because after the match, no more. American Elemental is beaten down and battered by Acid 2 and Shinikami, who had taken a particular shine to American Elemental during the 6-man tag, and after the match they just brutalize the colourful Babyface character even more. Just brutal kicks, brutal high-flying maneuvers, and of course, after a very nasty, very attrition-filled matchup, his partners, Eric Lee and Island Boy Apollo, are just too hurt to help him. As we move on to our second match of the evening, as Earnest Youngman has a good wrestling match with Cameron Jones, Cameron Jones with that head of steam, that high momentum match. One half of the Confederation of the Territories Tag Team Champions with those big clotheslines, those big kicks, those big shoulder blocks that Cameron Jones is known for. That athlete, he's willing to just keep running at you, willing to keep throwing things at you, and keep rolling on with those big maneuvers that he is known for. Those big. He's a strong lad too. He can hit those big vertical suplexes, and he's not too bad when he's taken to the ground. And that's in fact what happens for most of this match. As Earnest Youngman takes Cameron Jones to the mat with his charismatic, quick grappling style, with a wink of the crowd, with a big hauler, he just manages to whip Cameron Jones around and just wear him down. Cameron Jones, he likes to have a fast pace. He likes to be able to have those roll with the punches style. He likes to be able to keep the energy and the atmosphere to a high octane pace. But in this match, Earnest Youngman disengages, stops Cameron from getting rolling, stops Cameron from really setting the pace that Cam wants to have in this match. He slows it down. He works on Cameron Jones every opportunity that he gets. He slows down the big man. He tries to injure that leg. He tries to injure that arm. He just tries to slow Cameron down in any way, shape, or form. And it's kind of to the crowd's delight in a lot of ways. Cameron's like a bull in a china shop. Sometimes he just throws himself around, and Earnest managing to slow down the big man and thwarting his plans, I think is very cathartic for the crowd. They look at Cameron Jones and he's running around, big lad, and Earnest thwarting him at every turn is kind of an enjoyable thing to see, as the big lad just gets stopped on every occasion. It's almost funny how Cameron Jones, I'm not saying he gets dominated in this match by any means, but whenever he gets a big head of steam going, and Earnest just stops the pace flat in its tracks, it's a relatively fun atmosphere. We move on to our next match of the evening. Medico Jr. is back, and he's fighting Scythe, the vicious demon, the dead man as it were, who just enjoys inflicting and suffering pain. These two have a decent wrestling match as Medico Jr. tries to use his pace and his quickness to catch Scythe off guard. And in fact, in a lot of ways, Scythe does get caught off guard. We saw back in December that when Scythe is fighting these quick-paced grapplers, these quick-paced wrestlers, he does sometimes get caught off his guard. Medico takes Scythe down. It's something that Island Boy Apollo couldn't do in their title match a couple of months ago. But Medico manages to take Scythe down, manages to work on that right leg, trying to set him up for some sort of submission maneuver, trying to work him down and grind out maybe a big upset victory. But at Scythe, he's been like this before. Scythe is a big man. He loves pain, and he's able to take out so many people. Guys like Island Boy Apollo, fair and square. But he is also, sorry about the Skype noise, he is also absolutely no stranger to cheating to win. Scythe will easily use the low ropes for leverage if it means an easier victory for him tonight. Scythe has changed. Before when he debuted here in MAW, he was all about the pain. He was all about extending his suffering. In fact, I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the George Wolfe feud it was the Earnest Youngman match, where Vinny Cruz, his manager, a Scythe's handler of sorts, had to calm Scythe down, had to say, look, play with your food a little. If you just to get yourself disqualified, you're not gonna have enough time to really inflict pain, and that's what got Scythe to slow down, not get DQ'd as much, and start really inflicting pain and winning matches. But it wasn't about winning matches for Scythe back then. It wasn't about winning titles. It was about inflicting pain. But now here we are in mid 2019, well into Scythe's first Mid-Atlantic Championship reign, and you start to see that victories are starting to matter to Scythe, and if he gets spooked, if he gets scared, he's going to cheat to win. And that's what he does tonight, which is a good showing for Medico Jr. for sure. As we move into our main event segment, George Wolfe is out there in the interview area with Papa Dan, and he says, tonight is a big night in my career. It is the biggest match of my career because, I fought in Japan in some of the biggest matches we've ever seen. I was the historical Japan champion. It was a glorious, glorious reign. But tonight I get to put my hands on the biggest prize in the industry. It's said a lot and it's almost become cliche at this point, but there is only one title in the wrestling world that proves that you're number one, and that is the heavyweight championship of the world. And, I want to be the guy. I want to be respected. I want to look into the crowd and tell you that I told you so. I want to hold the biggest gold. I want to make the most money. Because, I scream money. I am the son of a legend. I am named after a legend. I have been born and bred for this industry. I am in the gym 6-7 days a week. Every time I am not out there wrestling to get paid a lot of money, by the way. I am in the gym making sure that I look better than all of you. And I do. I look great. And tonight, I am going to win the title that I deserve. And John Greed heads out to the interview area, and he says, George, you got a mentor, you got a handler a couple of years ago to make you calm down, but you still haven't found that mental energy that really makes wrestling great. I was a top guy once. I was in SWF, and I was promised a lot of things, and none of them came true. But it didn't make me mad, George. It didn't make me angry like you seem to be. It just gave me a chance for inner peace. And I found that peace, and I ascended. And I've had to fight so many people who seem to be hell-bent on hurting themselves in CZCW. But I'm different. I'm calm. And tonight I'm going to prove to you why I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. It's not because I'm stronger than you. It's not because I'm faster than you. It's not because I'm smarter than you. It's because I'm in tune with myself, George. And I have the spiritual energy to defeat you. And in the main event of the evening, the world's heavyweight champion does indeed defend his heavyweight championship against George Wolfe in 90 minutes and 53 seconds with a crash diet. John Greed makes defense number 2 of his Confederation of the Territories heavyweight championship. Good stuff from here. George comes at John Greed with his big brawling style, with his big, lariats, his punches, his kicks, his forearms, his chops, mainly his chops, those vicious chops that can be heard all across the Charlotte Garden. But John Greed diffuses the situation. John Greed manages, he's a bit of a grappler. He manages to hold George down, manages to reverse a lot of those strikes into, it's not even the fast-paced, charismatic grappling we've seen from guys like, from Ernest Youngman. It's not the down on the mat, gritty, grinded out style that we've seen from guys like Dean Waldorf. What we see tonight is just a calm, controlling situation. Every strike is diffused by John Greed. He's not trying to win the match. He's not trying to wear anybody down. He's not trying to show off. He's just calm. He gets into the holds he wants to get into, and he slows the match down to an enjoyable pace. And he stops George Wolfe in his tracks. It's a perfect counter to the fast-paced, aggressive, rage-filled Japanese Puro style of George Wolfe. It's just a calm, spiritual, controlling style. And he manages to diffuse all of George Wolfe's attempts at building up momentum and going towards a victory, and manages to retain his heavyweight championship of the world. And after the match, the two stare each other down, they nod, and they shake hands, respectful of their narrow match. And that's Fan Festival 2019. Whew! If it was a little fillery, I do apologize. There were only 4 matches on this show, and I felt like I wanted to make this still a 10-minute or so episode. So I did try to make things a little longer sometimes than they possibly should have been. But I tend to ramble a lot anyway, so you probably didn't notice any difference. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Check out the rest of the series. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're feeling especially generous, particularly like the show, go ahead and check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. If you want to hear me ramble, and my link to my Twitter is in the description. And I forgot to mention something at the start of the episode that I'll mention now. You can see the grade is really good, despite the fact the show, it was good, but it wasn't as good as some other shows. Why is that, you may be asking? There is some good news. I don't know why, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but right now, Rhode Island Pro Wrestling are not considered our rivals, which means that we're no longer getting compared to their production quality, which means we might be getting shows that are this good just from now on, because it means that we're not getting penalties for production quality, which is a really, really great thing to have. So, again, I'm not sure what caused it. I looked at their pop. They might be low in the Mid-Atlantic. That might be it. It might be that they've moved higher. We are at 31 pop in our region. They're at 33 in theirs, so I have no clue. No clue what's caused it. But we'll just have to play it by ear and see how it goes, honestly. We'll have to see how it goes. And hopefully they continue to not be our rivals so that we no longer have stiff penalties. That would be cool. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you will join me next time for the Sam Keith Classic 2019. The only entrants we have confirmed are the Dynamite Express. We also know that the Ring Generals will not be a part of it. Who will be in it? Find out next time on Mid-Atlantic Wrestling.